Good Monday morning. This is the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for this Monday, November 13th. Looking at precipitation over the past 7 days, on the left-hand side you can see dry across the southern half of the Great Basin. We do have increasing precipitation amounts across the mountains of central Idaho and western Wyoming, where it has been fairly wet over the past month and a half. But even there, you can see that percent of normal is still somewhere between 25 and 75% of normal, so drier than normal for November standards up north, and bone dry, basically 0% of normal in places that have not received precipitation in the past week. So things have dried out quite a bit. And we can see that on our 10-hour fuels, the area in pink you see through here are 10-hour fuels that are 5 to 6, which could burn readily as long as the humidity is dry enough. And of course, down in far southern Nevada, they are at a 3 or 4, which are midsummer levels. So still dry, and dry enough to burn for sure across much of our region. Looking at snowfall, new snowfall over the past 72 hours on the left-hand side. You can see some light amounts, a few inches across far northern Nevada into the mountains of central Idaho, where they did get some areas here 8 to 12 inches of snow. Snow depth on the right-hand side, again, confined to the mountains of central Idaho, western Wyoming, and across the highest terrain of the Wasatch. Otherwise, we're pretty much snow cover free. Satellite imagery shows a deep storm system slowly dropping down out of the Gulf of Alaska. Tightening wind field across here should provide some upper level transport flow. It'll be the storm system and some moisture coming out of the Pacific, which could give us a more widespread precipitation event later this week, maybe Thursday into Friday. But as long as high pressure stays to our south and this wind field, given by these tight height lines, stays across us, we should have some pretty decent transport winds, especially during the afternoon hours when the heating takes over. So for today, this afternoon, high pressure stays to our south. We do have a storm system come in from the north. Our dispersion levels overall are looking pretty good across the region. Transport winds quite strong across northwestern Nevada into parts of western Idaho, and picking up a bit across Utah as well. And mixing heights overall pretty good, except across the northwestern portion of Utah, where inversions will probably continue for much of the day. Now for tomorrow, it looks like the zonal flow continues across the region. We're fairly dry, so sunny where you see these areas in orange. There's that storm system further up into the Gulf of Alaska. Our ventilation index indicates good overall dispersion, where you have areas in the white to yellow, decreasing dispersion in the red. That's closer to the area of high pressure. We break it down, transport winds. You can see light transport winds across southern Nevada, about 5 to 15 miles per hour, maybe near 20 in some of these darker green shade areas up through here. Mixing heights overall pretty good, except for far southern areas and down here across parts of central Utah. Now on Wednesday, weak wind flow over us temporarily. The spread in these height lines through here. Here's the overall ventilation index. The white indicates the best ventilation. There'll be good mixing heights across Nevada. It's going to help their ventilation, but the wind flow overall, especially over southern areas, is fairly light. But you see it picking up here across the northern Nevada, southern Idaho border area, and then much more so in the mountains of central Idaho. This is in response to an approaching low pressure system. The Utah Clearing Index for areas in Utah, as we go from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you can see overall the worst areas will be in northwestern Utah, but it'll improve a little bit tomorrow, but that's where the inversions will tend to linger for quite a bit. Otherwise, across the higher terrain areas, vertical mixing given by those yellow to reddish colors should remain fairly good. 3-day precipitation, there'll be some in the mountains of Idaho, over an inch, maybe 1.5 inches of precipitation, so more snowfall in those areas, again deepening that snowpack, drier across the south. Now on Thursday, the weather map changes. Deep low pressure comes in. You see the tightening of these height lines through here. Winds will increase. That improves our dispersion index, our ventilation index. Looks like most areas will stay in the white. On Friday, this front pushes through with precipitation across Idaho and even into parts of central Nevada, into central Utah. And you can see overall dispersion remains fairly good. Patchy areas a little bit lower due to cloud cover where you see the red. And then as we go into Saturday, we notice there's a continued plume of moisture through Idaho, northern Nevada, northern Utah. Dispersion starts to decrease mainly due to cloud cover, but the transport flow winds should remain fairly good. And it won't be until Sunday that high pressure starts to build in from the south and west, drying us out, diminishing our winds as we go through the period. Now, precipitation days 4 through 5, this will be Thursday morning through Saturday morning. Significant amounts spread further south, about a ½ inch down towards Elko and Ely, over 1.5 inches across the Wasatch, and it'll add to some snow cover through there. But far southern Utah, the southern third of Nevada, the Arizona Strip stays dry. The 8 to 14 day outlook shows continued warmer than normal temperatures, wetter than normal across our northern and western areas, near normal to slightly drier than normal elsewhere. And this concludes our briefing. Have a great day. Our next smoke briefing will be this coming Wednesday.